When we killed God, his body fell from heaven and landed somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. We weren't trying to kill him, of course. We just wanted to talk. Countries around the world had put aside their differences to work together and build a machine that could contact God. How were we to know the damn thing would kill him? The good news was, despite that one unfortunate hiccup, the machine worked. The bad news was that the only things left to talk to in heaven, the angels, didn't have much to say to us. Lucifer was much more understanding. When we contacted him, he seemed sad to hear about his progenitor's death, but even though our machine killed him, he didn't hold us accountable. When he came up from the dark recess of the Mariana Trench, bloodied, injured, and at death's door, we thought our machine had malfunctioned again. But the damage had turned out to have been inflicted by his fellow demons. With God dead, the monsters of hell had worked themselves into a frenzy for conquest, even if that meant killing their own unwilling leader. Before he died, Lucifer told us that the demons of hell were coming to earth, and with God dead, there wasn't anyone that could stop them. We buried him in the same place we buried God. It seemed appropriate. We tried to petition the angels for aid, but they replied that without God, no angel would leave heaven. It took some time for the demons to destroy the gate to hell, a year in fact, but when they did, they barely got out of Challenger Deep before they were intercepted by the angels. You should have heard the cheers as the invading demons were slaughtered to a man. But the angels didn't stop there. A huge being, clad in golden armor and wielding a flaming sword, led the angels into hell and killed every demon that had stayed behind. We were overjoyed, so overjoyed that only some of us were concerned when the angels returned to Earth a month later. I had actually been concerned since the angels had come the first time, because I had remembered what they said about their unwillingness to help us before. So today, as the huge angelic beings talk to us about things such as servitude, sacrifices, and a new world, I can't help but think back to the one question I didn't have an answer to. When God died, who took his place? I watched as the man lying down on the bed awoke.
I can't see. Where am I?
He asked groggily. Why, a hospital, of course, I replied. You were in a coma. Do you remember anything?
I do. It felt like I was dreaming.
Were they good?
What?
Were they good dreams?
No, actually, they were terrible nightmares.
I'm sorry to hear that, because it's only going to get worse.
I can't move,
he said, an edge of panic creeping into his voice. Are you at all curious as to how the world's changed in 80 years?
80?
Yes, 80. A couple of years after you went into your coma, technology started advancing at a rapid pace.
The body, it feels wrong.
Do you believe in God? I think it had to do with playing God. We wanted what God had. So we made more and more powerful machines that could do more and more powerful things, all the while marveling at our own ever-growing intelligence. You never answered me before. Do you believe in God?
I'm not sure.
Well, we weren't sure about God either, so we decided to make our own. A machine made from the most powerful hardware, with enough intelligence to think and reason.
Is there something covering my eyes?
We'd seen the movies, of course, so we'd made it so that it needed a human to operate. When the Intelligent Machine Model 2, or Ozymandias as it goes by now, started making machines of its own, we made sure that those couldn't be used without humans as well. I paused for a moment. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Your visor's turned off, that's why you can't see.
Can you turn it on for me?
I can, but you won't like what you see.
Please.
I turned on his visor before continuing. But in our haste to emulate God, we replicated his biggest mistake. As soon as his visor booted up, he started to scream. I continued. The things you create never do what you want them to do. Out of his body jutted slabs of metal along with clear pipes and multicolored wiring. He started crying.
Have I died? Is this hell, or am I still dreaming?
I'm afraid you're wide awake. The machine he's attached to suddenly pulls his body up and starts to walk out of the room. He cries out in pain. It always hurts the first time a machine wears you. You're to work in the mines. The materials gathered will be used to expand Ozymandias. The machine will move your body, so you don't have to worry about figuring out what to do. I wouldn't fight it, it will only hurt you. The machine took him out the door. One last thing, I said to the back of his retreating form. You mentioned dying before. Well, thanks to the research of Ozymandias, if you do end up dying, we can just bring you back. Two very important things happened in the year 2075. The first was that humanity discovered a way to get to heaven, and the second was the apocalypse. It turns out that on Pluto there is a region of immensely strong gravity, strong enough that light shouldn't have been able to escape it. But from that place on Pluto, a bright, pure light shone. It's how we found it in the first place. Pluto's too far away to see from Earth, even with a telescope, but even in daylight, everyone on Earth could see that light. Now, the apocalypse was an entirely different matter. That came from under the earth and oceans. Tall creatures with smooth carapaces and black unblinking eyes. They stood upright, but when they moved, they skittered around on the ground like cockroaches. They were quick, and their exoskeletons were tough. They were strong enough to tear an average human male in half, and no matter how many the army killed, there would always be more to take their place. Countries were already planning manned expeditions to investigate the anomaly on Pluto, but with the appearance of these creatures, an expedition was fast-tracked. I was one of the few priests chosen to accompany the astronauts on their interstellar journey to heaven. My official role was to provide moral support for the crew, but I think we all knew, as priests, were being sent to somehow convince whoever was on the other side to help us. I have been steadfast in my faith, even with the apocalypse. But something I heard before we left keeps bothering me, no matter how hard I try to forget it. It was a quote that went, "I saw the face of God, and it was weeping." I guess it upset me so because I was scared it would be true. What if, when I saw God, he was weeping because he couldn't stop what was going on? What if we were already doomed and something stronger than God had us in its power? These thoughts so troubled me that I half hoped our craft would crash so I wouldn't have to find out for sure. But we made it to Pluto, and we went through to the other side. On the other side, we saw what could only be described as angels and a being that had to be God. He was immense, like us but unlike us. As we got closer, I saw that he was looking at the earth. I somehow knew he could see everything going on. As I watched him, all my previous worries were replaced by a terrifying realization. Because I saw what he saw. I saw the creatures ripping soldiers not old enough to drink apart. I saw them crush small children's heads like grapes. I saw them dismember entire families. I saw his face as he saw all this. I saw the face of God, and it was smiling. Hello, creepy readers. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, you can browse the library and check out my older readings, and keep in mind that it's in the dustiest books that you may find the best stories.